You what to do, people? We're back at it again with a reaction. Hope everyone's having a good day. Today we're gonna react to top 10 cringiest things from the 80s. So all my 80s babies, you know what I mean? Y'all should know. Let's take a look at this.
Pulled off an amazing 80s party last year. Off the hook!
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 cringiest things from the 80s.
I think the new Coke is too sweet. I like the old Coke better.
For this list, we'll look at the most embarrassing cultural trends and
like the
fads
old
from
Coke
the
better.
1980s. What trend from the 80s makes you cringe the most? Let us know in the comments. Number 10, geometric patterned shirts. If clothes are meant to make a statement, the message
The
with
soundtrack
these
is
shirts
dope,
seemed
son.
to be, hey, check out how ridiculous I look. For some reason, people in the 80s decided that shirts with bright colors, covered in all sorts of shapes, were the height of fashion.
They have this one shirt that costs $1,000 because the pattern's so wild. I want that one so bad.
But these shirts looked more like they belonged in a modern art museum than on anyone's body. If you're going to an 80s themed party, a geometric patterned shirt will help you look the part. Otherwise, it'll probably just make you look like a total square.
That's how they value the shirt. The more the lines crisscross and the patterns overlap.
Number 9, outdated computers.
Watch this.
It's hard to believe there was a time when it wasn't the norm to have your own computer. In the 80s, the popularity and sales of home computers started taking off, showing that owning a computer wasn't just for geeks.
What are you going to use it for mostly?
Well, probably schoolwork and because they have like cartridges that can teach
Porno.
you stuff.
For instance, you could play some low-quality video games, write papers, and, okay, there wasn't much more than that.
You take this, the program on this tape cassette, you put it in the tape recorder, it feeds the information into the computer.
The processing speeds were ludicrously slow, and the clunky designs were anything but attractive.
People I've talked to say that it takes you longer to do something by putting it into a computer and calling it up again than if you just kept simple records yourself in the house.
It was all very impressive and exciting at the time, but
Oh,
like
not no
most
more. You know
technology,
that.
they
Now this
soon
shit
showed
is
their
like
age.
everything's on computer.
Number
fast.
8, new Coke. When we think of soft drinks, we think of Coca-Cola. But in the early 80s, rival
shit had Coke,
Pepsi
too, back in
started
the
to
day.
attract more customers in supermarkets.
Yeah,
And
because they had
was
Coke.
losing ground.
We gave America a choice, and more people said, Coke is it.
The soda giant developed
Yo, the
a
way
new
they say
formula
it,
for their
Coke
famous
is
cola,
it.
calling it New Coke.
How do you even drink that?
Because it's delicious.
What? This sweeter take on the beverage arrived with plenty of fanfare and marketing. But it didn't take long for the backlash to start.
I like Coke and the old Coke.
Well, I did like the
Yo,
old better.
you look like they on Coke right now.
And I'm glad they're bringing it back.
Less than 3 months
Oh,
after New
shit.
Coke's debut, the company announced the return of Coca-Cola Classic.
We're trying to start a grassroots campaign to get the old Coke back.
Some theorized that the new formula was simply a ploy to drive sales when the old formula returned.
Sweeter, bolder, better.
You're insane.
That's a good show.
Coke
Stranger
may
Things.
have stumbled a bit, but ultimately, they came out on top.
Purchase a car at any of our locations or online. Hertz Car.
Number 7, clocks on chains. A wristwatch is a great way to look fashionable while also keeping track of the time.
It's like you ripped this off the wall of a waiting room outside a doctor's office.
But a clock on a chain is a bit much.
Flavor Flav, fight the power stampede.
Rapper and Public Enemy
Fight
hype
the
man
power.
Flavor Flav popularized this trend, though we didn't exactly see many others using timepieces as necklaces. In a 1994 interview with MTV, the rapper said he started with stopwatches and escalated to clocks. He also said that wearing the clocks represented the value of time in our lives.
Time is heavy, man. Time is heavy.
It became
Well,
his
it's true,
signature
though.
look that he still rocks today.
I dialed 911 a long time ago. Don't you see how late they reacting?
Number 6, Swatch watches. Remember what we
Yo,
said
that
about
was my shit, the
wristwatches
Swatch
being
watches.
fashionable? Well, that's not always the case. During the rise
Remember,
of
all y'all
digital
niggas out there
watches,
with bootleg shit,
swatches
though.
were meant to make analog wristwatches cool
Don't be
again.
lying.
This Swiss line of watches came in an array of colors, and it became trendy to wear multiple different colored watches at the same time. And what's cooler than that? We just wanted to stand out. And Swatch ads made us feel like we'd be treated like absolute royalty with these watches.
Betty Finn was a true friend, and I sold her out for a bunch of Swatch dogs and Diet Coke cans.
Ultimately, though, we just ended up looking like total dorks. But hey, at least it helped with our punctuality, right?
You better swatch yourself at Macy's Bambergers.
Number 5, Betamax. If you grew up in the 80s, or even the 90s, you probably remember buying and renting movies on VHS.
This from Blockbuster Video.
But do you remember Betamax? Before VHS became the home video format of choice, it
Yeah,
was in
I
a
love
rivalry with
VHS.
Sony.
When I used to get stuck
Betamax
inside the
was actually
VCR,
launched
I used to
first
hate that
in
shit.
1975, and its picture quality was arguably superior.
What may be no big deal to some people may be a big deal to you. That's why NEC makes both VHS and Beta.
But it had some drawbacks, like its more expensive VCRs and reduced recording space. This allowed VHS to get the upper hand.
Peter Pan. Oh, shit.
VHS soon took the lead and rendered Beta obsolete. Maybe they should have called it Alphamax?
Oh no! Beta.
Number 4, Aquanet. The big hair of the 80s didn't get that way by pure luck.
The hairspray,
Plenty of
Aquanet,
products,
yo.
such
Remember
as
that shit?
Aquanet hairspray to reach maximum
My sister,
treatment
yo,
potential.
she used to with the big ass puffy shit, looking like a mountain on top of her head.
But while we
The Mount
hoped to
Tom
look
and
like
shit.
pop icons and rock stars, our expectations didn't quite meet reality. With the amount of spray used, it was all but impossible to notice anything but our hair. And did we mention its strong scent? Private
Look at
and
my
public
sister back in the
restrooms
day in the
alike
80s.
reeked
That's my
of
sister.
Aquanet. Bigger may not have actually been better.
I got
but
pictures,
it was
yo.
the
I'm gonna put 'em
dominant
up one
style
day,
for a
watch.
time.
And then her date gives her a knowing smile of admiration. On her confident smile, Aquanet. Arrive in style.
Number 3, shoulder pads. In the business world, what you
Yo,
wear can
why?
impact
Why
how
the
you're
fuck
perceived and
would
what
they invent shoulder
opportunities are
pads? Look at that
available
shit.
for you.
Like a football
So,
player and
working
shit.
women in the 80s started wearing suits with shoulder pads as a way of saying they are just as capable as any man. Influential figures like Margaret Thatcher and Dynasty star Joan Collins exuded strength and confidence
That's
while
crazy.
rocking shoulder pads.
Things changed.
But big shoulders eventually started to look goofy rather than inspiring, and became another fashion footnote of the 80s. However, shoulder pads have made a comeback among fashionistas in the late 2010s and early 2020s. Number 2, just say no. Drug addiction is an extremely complicated issue that we may never fully
Dare.
understand.
Keep kids
But
off drugs.
We do know that it
No,
can't
no.
just be
That
stopped
mascot
with
they
a
had.
3-word slogan.
Just say no.
The Just Say No campaign, coined and popularized by First Lady Nancy Reagan, simplified this complex matter, ignoring the many reasons people turn to substances. While it did create further awareness of drug dependency, there's no evidence to indicate that it actually
Yo,
made
back
a
in those
marked
days,
difference
people don't
in overall
understand. Like,
drug
people
use.
had to
I get angry
be
just
on
thinking about
drugs.
it. It makes me
You know
mad.
what I mean, like, that's
Little
all they
kids
had.
doing drugs, it turns my
Not
stomach.
kids, but I'm saying adults.
Also may have
But,
furthered the
back in the
idea
day,
of
yeah,
addiction
I
as
agree.
a moral
Kids
issue
shouldn't be
rather
doing
than a
drugs,
health
but
one. The
man, that's
intentions
just
may
life.
have been good, but the results were lacking.
You kids still shouldn't mess with that crap. But everybody's doing it.
And where they at?
True, where
Our
they at?
top pick.
In
Here
jail?
are some honorable mentions. Acid
Underground?
wash jeans. We were obsessed
Not
with
around.
bleaching our denim.
Either one. Or on the streets being a bum, homeless. Denim. I used to rock that denim shit all day. Eric B. and Rock Kent.
Pastel shirts and ties with suits. We all wanted to be Sonny Crockett.
Where the hell you think you're going?
Find Mendez.
It's too hot out there.
What am I gonna do? Sit on some damn beach while Rodriguez hangs by a thread?
Fax machines. Before email, this was a miracle.
There's this, or this, or this. And last year, thousands of Canadian companies chose this. The fax machine.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1, indoor smoking.
Oh,
Smoking
yeah.
or not smoking?
Smoking.
In 1986, the U.S. Surgeon General reported on the dangers of secondhand smoke. And the major health risks of tobacco were well known before the 80s. But despite all this, indoor smoking in public places was still allowed. It wasn't just restaurants with separate smoking sections. You could find people smoking in the office, at grocery stores, and even on planes.
The smoke permeates the whole cabin. It's bad for the smokers. It's bad for the non-smokers.
The tobacco industry knew of these dangers and did their best to suppress them and avoid further regulations.
Until they
Health
sued them.
advocates won out, and laws about indoor smoking have since become much stricter.
Oh yeah, there's
I
no
kind
more
of
smoking
feel like
anywhere
I'm in
indoor.
the bottom of a coal mine, like I'm an old coal worker with all the smoke a lot of times. I know most flight attendants do have sinus problems.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from Watch Mojo.
That was not
and
bad,
be sure
though.
to subscribe and ring the bell to
But if you're 80s baby, you can relate. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate you guys for, you know, at least watching my video, even if it's 30 seconds. But subscribe to my channel on YouTube. I would appreciate that. One.